We just came from Nosferatu, the new Robert Eggers version. Yeah, this one was a long time coming. There were rumors about it and denial. It was, you know, everyone said, everyone said, it's a fake poster, it's not real. I think that they were trying to kind of keep it under wraps, but then eventually it came out, okay, yes, Robert Eggers did do a version of Nosferatu, and then everyone thought, well, not everyone, a lot of people, including me, was like, the original 1922 Nosferatu, which we can talk about for ages, with Max Schreck, Murnau's movie. We have a kind of a personal connection with the movie because we did a new soundtrack for it.
And I think also we have an advantage because we've seen that movie so many times.
I mean, we performed this soundtrack several times.
Yes.
Also released a DVD, the movie on our Terminatrix DVD. We did the soundtrack with our Makabra Ensemble. And I'm wearing the shirt for the occasion with our friends Simon, Matthijs, Sean and my brother Francois also did the original for the Nosferatu, the original soundtrack, which we recorded live at the screening of the Horrorfest.
Has Ron done
Ronnie wasn't there. He did a later one,
okay,
but he wasn't on the very first one we did. And this live recording was put on the movie and released on the DVD with a bunch of other Terminatrix stuff. But yeah, so the movie was released in 1922. And it was ripped
2 years
off
before my granny was born.
Wow. And it was a rip-off of Dracula.
Yes, it was. The story was based on Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, but they ran into trouble with his family, with his wife. I think that
they didn't have the rights.
Yeah, they didn't have the rights. Even back then, it was a thing.
So they just changed some stuff up.
Yes.
But also, I think they tried to destroy all the copies when it got released. But
oh wow, I didn't know that.
I think there's like one print that actually survived, which all these ones that are now available have been kind of copied from, including the one that we did our soundtrack to.
Yeah, I mean that performance of Max Schreck was absolutely in the role of Orlok was.
It's a timeless movie.
It is absolutely.
And
timeless.
also now, you know, that look is not. Werner Herzog in the 70s did a version, Nosferatu the Vampire.
Yes, and then there was Shadow of a Vampire that actually had
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe in it.
Yeah, that was kind of like a making of.
Yeah, and which was apparently...
Well, not a making of, but like a movie about the making of the movie.
Because apparently the making of the movie with the Shrek was like a character, he stayed in character.
Character act, yeah.
But it's weird that I just briefly saw an interview with Bill Skarsgård, and he said that it was the most scary character for him to play because it scared him, the evil nature of it. I thought he did an incredible job.
Yeah.
He was unrecognizable. Unrecognizable.
The voice and everything. And so I mean, it's and there's also a bit more worked into the story of the connection between her and... Which
is the part I don't like. I don't like that part of it.
Yeah, as opposed to just, it looks like his love.
His wife.
His dead beloved, and he wants to go and So, but it's an interesting angle. It definitely fleshes out her character more than just kind of this sort of a victim who becomes a sacrifice for the greater
good.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it was Robert Eggers. He made The Witch, The Lighthouse, also Willem Dafoe again, and The Northman with Skarsgård's brother.
Okay.
And so all of his movies, I don't think he hasn't made a movie that's kind of set in modern times. It's always
very much like
way
period.
Back. I mean, this is about 1839 or something?
1838 or 1839, I think.
Late 1830s.
Yeah.
And you know, it's very much it's the entire thread.
It was
the Dracula story. Goes from the castle, travels on the boat.
It was set in Bismarck, but I think that in the Murnau one it was set in Bremen. could be wrong.
Or it could be, or it was Werner Herzog's one with Klaus Kinski and Isabella Gianni. Was that also?
I don't know.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
But
not
there wasn't
material.
there wasn't any text. I mean, obviously the setting was Germany, but then when you travel to Orlok, okay, his name is Orlok. It's obviously not
Count Orlok.
Dracula.
Yeah.
This light is not changing.
No.
So people are just skipping it. He's Count Orlok, which is what Murnau and them. I can't remember the screenwriter of the original Nosferatu.
We are all stopped.
But they changed it to Count Orlok.
Yes.
Go, dude.
Sorry, this light was very confusing now.
No, it seemed like it wasn't changing.
Yes. And I quite like it's weird. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Bram Stoker's.
Sorry, I just need to speed up.
Of Bram Stoker's novel and obviously Coppola's movie.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
But
from
I
the 90s.
do like the Orlok character.
Yeah, he's like this fucking creepy. He's not a romantic.
No, he's not a gorgeous.
He's basically half a corpse.
Yes. Which is, and I read a Facebook post from a girl posted from she's a Romanian native, and she said that obviously they call it Strigoi, and it is never ever in their folklore. It's never been a thing of beauty or desire. It has always been a grotesque thing.
Yeah.
Which this movie they kept that sort of idea really upfront. What I did like is that there were so many, and especially if you've seen the 1922 one as many times as we have, there were so many similarities. It was insane down to the detail. But what I did appreciate was the fact that they didn't try to imitate the look.
Because there are so many iconic scenes from the original movie, like the shadow going up the steps, walking across the deck of the ship,
coming up the coffin,
the coffin,
which I was quite surprised that they didn't do.
It's just no, they couldn't have done that.
Even Coppola did a fantastic version of that. Yeah.
Although that was Bram Stoker's Dracula using a scene from the rip-off of Dracula.
Yeah.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Visual and artistic decisions. It's a big one to take on because it is such a historic movie, and it has been remade by Werner Herzog, which was a fantastic remake with Klaus Kinski, and Isabella Gianni was like in a prime there. If you were I don't have these kind of crushes on actresses, or this is like a hottie, but she was freaking beautiful. She was like way up there back then.
And also, what I did appreciate was that the Orlok's look. He looked like a real Romanian. He almost looked like Tepesh. The idea of Tepesh with the very sort of pronounced moustache. And
he wasn't completely bald, but I mean the look. I'm sure they went to and fro with deciding on exactly. If they probably made a point not to replicate it because
and his costume was like so what I would imagine would be like very traditional, but still like sort of there was hints of Orlok, the 1922 Orlok in there, which I really loved. I loved the first half of that movie. I loved it. Loved it.
But I mean, it's basically a dark art house movie and a period piece.
Yes.
Which is a horror movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you like cheesy, splattery, gory horror movies, this probably might bore you with some of the themes and the slow pace of some of the moments. But it's a very cool movie experience. It's not a cheap watch. It's not like it's loaded with scares and frights and jump cuts. That's not the point.
No. This is very sort of yeah, it's art house, very much so. But it was beautifully made, and I just didn't.
And it's not pretentiously highbrow art house. So
no.
I mean, we love all kinds of horror movies, and that works for me.
I didn't like the idea that she was the cause of all of this. I don't like that, because it's always like it's like this male gaze thing with the fucking hysterical woman, and she's the one that's like crazy and like brings the devil into the world.
But unless it's also like, I don't know, you could also look at it as like the power, female power that can conjure stuff.
I guess, but
or attract things, and then that is what people used to call witchcraft.
No, for sure. But I for me, the original.
But it's like unintended occult situation of, across oceans.
Which was a fresh approach to that whole idea, I think.
Yeah. But like I say, they had to kind of at least do something different and not just replicate it
absolutely
piece by piece.
And I loved Willem Dafoe in it. I thought he's always great.
Yeah. But good Lord, he wasn't as fucking nuts as he was in The Lighthouse. That was the pinnacle of his nutsness.
Yeah. Who was the character that played the husband of the
Thomas?
No, not Thomas. He's the boy from Love Actually.
Yeah, he was Renfield's familiar in the Renfield movie, so very close.
Yeah, he
very close together.
He likes the vampire genre.
He's linked to the Dracula Nosferatu world.
But the guy that played the friend,
I don't know.
And Anna also looked very familiar.
His wife,
I just couldn't place
the friends. I don't know. But
so I didn't want to read too much about this whole thing. I wanted to go in cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like we do. And man, I always forget his name. Finchy. He was in The Witch. Eggers the Witch.
Yes.
He plays the doctor, and then
I cannot get rid of that. His Finch is burnt into my
from The Office. So Finchy is this wanker character from the original Office. Anyway, that actor. Yeah. He was also in the first Omen.
Great actor. Love him, but I just cannot. That Finch character is stuck, unfortunately.
Finchy asshole. We tried to get this movie for the Horrorfest, but it released internationally on Christmas Day 2024, and our friends from the Bioscope in Joburg, just a little plug for people who want to support independent cinemas. Look up the Bioscope up in Johannesburg, and in Cape Town, the Labia Theatre. We must support these guys. It's all these gigantic mall cinemas, Yeah, you must keep the small cinemas alive. But the guys from the Bioscope, we chatted with them. They were also trying to get Nosferatu late last year, but then we found out that UIP has the rights, but they had no release plan,
which is crazy.
So we tried to negotiate between. I think it was it A24 that was going to release it, and I think I saw old Universal logo in the front of this. But so it was a case of trying to get it, but it had to be attached to a film festival. But the Horrorfest finished mid-November, and this was in December. So between Russell and the guys at the Bioscope, we were trying to arrange something, but then that didn't happen. And then I just recently, a week ago, we heard, it's actually getting released. Almost like Terrifier 3.
Yes.
There was just...
I think they realized that there actually was
there's
some
interest for it.
Yes.
And like Terrifier 3, which we struggled, we didn't struggle, but it was a costly thing to get it for the Horrorfest.
It was expensive.
Yeah, we just, all of a sudden we saw, hang on, they're releasing Terrifier 3 in cinema, but it wasn't on the release sheet. The guys from the local distributors, they didn't really want to fess up to it. Because all of a sudden this movie made 50 million overseas.
They were embarrassed to show the movie, but the money obviously
but I mean
called the shots.
But if they worked with us, we could have made a big thing of it.
Absolutely.
over Halloween time.
Absolutely. I mean, personally, I didn't even go and watch it because I don't appreciate that kind of horror, but
it wasn't as bad as the reports made it. It was part of the hype.
It's just not.
But now, just like with this one, we tried to get it for the Horrorfest, couldn't get it, but just out of the blue, okay, it's actually getting a cinema release, which is cool. So make a plan. It will probably not be in theatres for that long. So if you're in South Africa, it's showing at the Nouveau. I think it's only 2 screens actually.
Yes.
One up in Gauteng and one in Cape Town. So make a plan, go watch it.
Go watch it, yeah. I mean, the one thing I do appreciate about Paul Skarsgård is the fact that he is such a handsome man, but he has
he looks a bit like a boy. His brother's more handsome.
No, but he is pretty.
No, but he's handsome.
But he doesn't have any qualms.
Well,
like,
I can't say I'll take your word for it.
I like the Skarsgårds. There's no two ways about it. But he's a pretty boy, and he's never concerned about taking on something that's gonna make him look fugly. I mean, Pennywise. Oh.
Yeah, no, he's been quite a few sort of remakes, reboots, re-adaptations.
Yes.
There's the It movies, the 2 new It movies, The Crow.
Yes. Which I loved.
And now Nosferatu. So he's been in quite a few high-profile remakes.
The character, the Lily Rose Depp.
She's quite a combination of a mom and a dad.
She's beautiful. She's like a little piece of jewelry. She's so beautiful. But I didn't like, and I'm sure she's a very good actress because she did a fantastic job. I just didn't like her style in this part. Yeah.
I'm wondering, interested if, because Anya Taylor-Joy was in The Witch, and was she the mermaid in The Lighthouse, or was she set to play the mermaid but then she didn't? Interested if they had her in mind.
Is her name Lily Rose? I can't remember now.
I think it is, yeah. But I mean, I don't know, unless Anya Taylor-Joy might seem too old. I mean, she's not old, but,
but for Hollywood she's probably too old.
I mean, but for the specific role she's supposed to be.
I mean, she was absolutely,
she would have been good as well.
Yeah.
But
she did a good job. I felt like it was just too much of a I can't really put my finger on it.
And I can't remember the character's name, but it's the guy's boss who sends him off to do the real estate deal, which is also a bit more expanded into kind of a contractual trick. He's kind of the Renfield character. He was pretty good as well. It's nuts, crazy, freaking.
Yeah, he did that really well.
But the cast all round.
They were all good. I did prefer the first half of the movie. I felt more into it. The second half of the movie sort of lost me a little bit. But all in all, I did enjoy the film.
Yeah, it was cool. Score-wise, what would you say?
I would score it a 7.
I would go 8.
Okay.
So 7.5. Man, we're always in the 7 and the 8s. It's I mean, just cinematography, the sound, everything. It's just there's very little that fails in the movie.
The voice he did. Never mind physically, you couldn't recognize him. Even his voice you couldn't recognize.
Yeah.
And he did it so well.
And obviously the makeup, it's extreme makeup. He's completely unrecognizable.
I mean, I've got asthma, and I felt the whole time I felt like
he's heavy breathing.
I feel like I'm getting asthma attack here.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. He should win an award for this part. Yeah.
But hey, if you've never seen the original Nosferatu or the Werner Herzog, I don't know if you should watch them before watching this.
I would recommend you watch the original, the 1922 Murnau one, and watch it carefully, because there's so many fine details that was even lighting and the way they were standing and the way they were positioned in some of it was unreal. I thought that was brilliant.
But it is not a carbon copy.
No, not at all. It was just enough to
pay homage to it without being over the top copy.
Yes.
It's pointless, like I said, it's pointless copying it since Werner Herzog has made his version, and it is in color, but it becomes so desaturated that it feels black and white.
Yeah,
and
it does.
It's a very oppressive feeling throughout the whole movie, but it's it's not a morbid, depressing movie that you come out of. Oh, you want to
Commit suicide.
yeah. So, but it's a dark movie, definitely. And watch it.
Absolutely.
And if you like to collect physical media, like we still do, the DVD version of our Nosferatu live soundtrack, you can find that on our Bandcamp page.
Yes, and there was even like a little.
Read it there.
There was even like a little section in the movie where she looks out the window, and the melody started to sound like our
One of the pieces.
one of the pieces.
Yeah.
But I guess it's the vibe.
Yeah.
It's the vibe. Yeah.
So I guess the mood.
mood.
The mood brings out those tones and sounds.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you can buy it on DVD if you want, and we'll also put it in the description. And if you let us know which is your
Rendition,
favorite adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which of the Nosferatus, which of the Draculas, and there's been so many spin-offs and
Yes,
versions of
yeah.
it. The Hammer horror versions with Christopher Lee.
Yes.
There's
Who
obviously,
I had a huge crush on, by the way.
and obviously the
As the vampire.
yes,
Yes.
obviously Bram Stoker's Dracula by Coppola from the 90s.
That's my favorite.
with Gary Oldman. Is that your favorite? We've got quite a couple different copies of that on DVD and Blu-ray. So yeah,
Yeah. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe.
all that good stuff.
Yes.
And then what's coming up next? I'm not sure what we'll be doing next, but hey, it'll pop up. So if you subscribe and hit the notifications, then you'll know what's coming up next.
Yes.
Cool, man. We'll catch you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.